Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today we've got for you guys is another Star Wars The Last Jedi video. Now, major spoiler warning, if you have not seen the movie yet, please do not watch this video because you do not want this part of the movie spoiled for you. So, massive spoiler warning, go see it if you have not seen it already. This video contains huge spoilers, but if you have seen it, let's continue. Now, going into episode 8, one of the major questions that everybody had about really this new trilogy of Star Wars movies was, who is Snoke, what is his sort of background, and sort of what is the extent of his power? Now, everybody thought we were going to learn so much about Snoke within The Last Jedi, like maybe his origins, who he really is, and sort of his connection to the overall Star Wars universe. But what we really got was a few little scenes with him. While they were really cool, it was cut short, no pun intended, or maybe it is pun intended. But, you know, his time in this movie was cut short quite literally when Kylo Ren betrayed and killed the Supreme Leader. Now, this is definitely one of, if not the most surprising thing that happened within The Last Jedi. I had thought, as I'm sure a lot of other people have thought as well, is that Snoke was going to be sort of the overall big bad for this new trilogy of Star Wars movies, but in reality it seems like they may be making Kylo Ren out to be the overall bad guy, but we'll just have to wait and see in episode 9. But really, my theory here and what I want to talk to you guys about is maybe Snoke really isn't dead, or at least he could possibly come back within episode 9. Now, my first theory as to how Snoke could return or possibly still be alive is something that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and something that I kind of thought about immediately after seeing the movie, is we did learn a lot about some new Force abilities that Jedi and really any Force user in general could possibly use, and that is the power of projecting themselves through the Force. Now, we obviously saw Luke do this at the end of the movie in a very, very cool scene, which led to, sadly, his becoming one with the Force, but, you know, we possibly could have seen Snoke actually using this power as well. Maybe the Snoke that we saw throughout the entirety of The Last Jedi, maybe that really wasn't him and it was just his projection of himself. Now, I feel like this would definitely be a very cool and interesting route for them to take, is to say, you know what, that Snoke that you saw die, that was just a physical projection of himself, and sort of Snoke set the entire thing up. There's a possibility that maybe this entire thing with Snoke and Kylo Ren and everything, maybe Snoke was just testing Kylo Ren's loyalty to him. He wanted to see, okay, if he's given this position, will he actually betray Snoke or not? And obviously Kylo Ren did betray Snoke. So, you know, I think that would definitely be very interesting if this whole thing was sort of set up as a test by Snoke against Kylo Ren, and, you know, he comes back in the next movie and be like, yo, Kylo, why'd you betray me, dude? This was a test, and you failed, bro. But also, if Snoke really was a Force projection throughout the entirety of The Last Jedi, that would also show Snoke's immense power that he has, because obviously in the end, Luke used that Force projection to sort of project himself across the galaxy to Crate, and that ended up killing him pretty much, as he just sort of used up all of his power and became one with the Force at the end. But if this shows that Snoke can sort of project himself and even keep his body projected there even after he's quote-unquote dead, that would just show the crazy power that Snoke has, and sort of it set up for just immense power for him to have unlimited power within episode 9. But Snoke being a Force projection throughout the entirety of The Last Jedi is definitely the theory that I'm going to go with, but there are a couple of different theories that I've also seen thrown around here for how Snoke could still be alive, so let's go over those now. So one of those theories is that Snoke could actually sort of be a clone of himself. Is if you guys have heard anything or read anything about sort of the Legends material for Star Wars, all of this stuff is non-canon anymore, but it sort of was, I guess, canon at one point. So in these Legends comics, Emperor Palpatine, actually, he created clones of himself to sort of keep himself alive indefinitely. So, you know, if he would die, he would just transfer into a clone of himself. So a lot of people have been throwing around the idea that maybe Snoke is transferring into clones of himself, and that's sort of why his face is all messed up and everything, is maybe these are just not fully developed clones. So, I mean, it's kind of a weird theory. Definitely something that's happened in Legends, obviously, but maybe something a little bit too crazy to go into in the movies. I mean, obviously, it's not like we haven't had clones before in Star Wars, because, you know, Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars, obviously. But I feel like this might be a little crazy for them to go into within the movies, having somebody transfer their consciousness into a clone of themselves to keep them alive indefinitely. While that would definitely be very cool and a nice little nod at Legends material, I just don't see this happening. And now the third and final theory as to how Snoke could return within Episode 9 is that maybe he really is dead, but he still will come back to maybe confront some of the characters through the Force. And through the Force, he could actually be some sort of dark side Force ghost. Now, there was some concept art released for the movie that showed Luke sort of meditating within his cave, or within just a cave on Ahch-To, and behind him you could see sort of this shadowy, like, red Force ghost type of figure. So they were thinking about adding some sort of dark side Sith Force ghosts within The Last Jedi, and it just was something that kind of got cut. So maybe they could possibly bring this idea back within Episode 9 and have Snoke come back as some sort of dark side Force ghost, and maybe have some sort of showdown with Luke that is obviously now also a Force ghost. So that would definitely be really, really cool to have some sort of Force ghost fight. I think that would be really cool, and I feel like this could be a little bit more likely than the clone theory, but I'm still going with my theory that Snoke was just projecting himself throughout the entirety of The Last Jedi. But other than that, guys, I want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think Snoke is really dead, or do you think he's going to come back? Do you agree with some of my theories on how Snoke could come back, or how he could still be alive, or do you have some theories of your own? Let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.